Happy Halloween, everybody. I am Mary Ellen, and I'm here to support Kurt. Kurt is just about to give you the Dynamic Defense and Beyond session. I see we have new people from all over New Zealand, Toronto, the UK, and then various places in the US. Welcome, everybody. I'm here to, if you should have any trouble hearing or seeing what Kurt is doing in front of you, for those of you that are a little bit new to this, if you have any technical difficulties, try to refresh your screen. It's in the upper left of your screen. Also, you can navigate back to the link that we sent you. And you can also email me using that. It's a golden circle. It looks like a bubble at the bottom left of your screen. And I will send you a new link. Hopefully it'll be flawless and we shouldn't have any problems. So you're part of the live portion. These are recorded sessions. You'll chat with Kurt, and he'll answer your questions as he's teaching, and you can definitely have an interactive experience. If you need to come back and watch this session again, it'll be on the Learning Library, so it will be there for you. So I'm going to set the recorder and invite Kurt to the classroom. Just 1 second. Hello, Kurt.
Hey, Mary Ellen. How's it going?
Good. How are you? Happy
bad.
Halloween.
Yes, to you as well.
Yes.
It's amazing sometimes how I feel like every year Halloween gets bigger and bigger.
Yes. And then have you noticed the Christmas things that are coming out at Halloween now? It's
or before.
Yeah. It's really crazy. So I understand. So today, what are we talking about?
We are kicking off the Monster Hand series, doing something a little bit different. And so indeed, we have a number of new folks and guests here today, along with the people who have been regulars here in Dynamic Defense and Beyond. And so for those of you who are attending my class for the first time, I hope you enjoy it. We just wanted to do something a little different and kind of mix things up and give it a theme. This series is, again, it's called Dynamic Defense and Beyond, and we like to be defense heavy, and we're going to be getting back to some defense here shortly. We are going to take these 4 weeks, today and the next 3 Tuesdays, to deal with the majority of your strong hands and bidding your strong hands. So I hope that people find that useful. People always like to pick up big hands, monster hands, and some can be very challenging to bid.
Wonderful. Well, I'm going to run away, and everyone enjoy the session.
Already I see a question came through about notes. You will find once the recording, the replay of the class is processed and posted to the class page, in addition to the actual video that you can stream, you will also see a copy of the slides available for download. So we try to make the slides available to all of you as well, which can serve, I think, pretty effectively as notes for you when you follow along, or just if you want to have something documented. Indeed. Why don't we go ahead and get into some of our content for today here. And we've got a little guest appearance here, little Halloween guest on our slide. This is the beginning of Monster Hands. which is essentially going to be sort of an outgrowth of a course I've done in years past that I call Power Auctions. But we want to go with kind of a Halloween theme here. So that's what we're doing. And we want to kick things off today by talking about different jump bids. And sometimes I'm almost surprised at the misunderstandings that I see partnerships have when it comes to jumps in the bidding. Sometimes I think what happens is people jump and they think they're making a forcing bid when in fact they are not, and they needed to choose a different bid. And then they're surprised when partner passes and they realize, oh no, we're underbid, we missed a game, something like that. Or sometimes it's the other way around. Sometimes you make your jump bid to invite, maybe partner thinks you have a better hand than you actually do and goes on the game, and we have a misunderstanding that way. And of course, we want to try and avoid all of these misunderstandings. And as I've noted here, many, in fact, I would say the vast majority of jump bids are actually not forcing. Your partner does not have to bid again. They fall into some sort of game invitational territory. There are some bids that are jumps that are absolutely forcing without exception. And then there are some that could be played either way. And of course, I'll try to indicate to you what is pretty standard, but there is certainly room for partnership agreement and adjustments on some of these. And so that's what we want to do today. We want to sort out a lot of these jump bids. And one thing I should say as we go into this, especially with a lot of new folks here today, along with some of our regular students, we undoubtedly have a wide variety of skill level. I know we have, we have people all around the globe. We have people making use of different bidding systems. And so I do understand that, where some of the things we talk about may not hit exactly for all of you, because it may depend what you play. A lot of these jump bids, that their meaning should be pretty consistent across a standard American or 2-over-1 game forcing system, or even a call. Now, if you play something like a precision system, then jump bids end up being very different in that context, because a precision you can makes use of a forcing opening that can be made with not as strong of a hand as we require in, say, standard American or 2-over-1. So understand that not everything may be universal here for everyone, but hopefully we're hitting the majority of what you all play. And look, I'm sure over the next few weeks, some of you will hear some things that will be new to you. Some of you will hear some things that you're saying, oh, well, I already know that. And so I understand that. I kind of come from the department of repetition and reinforcement, even of concepts that you feel pretty comfortable with, is still useful. I think it's an important part of teaching and of learning, right? Even if it's just to say to yourself, oh, okay, I knew that, but I'm glad I heard it again, just to cement that, because sometimes people know something that they believe is right when it comes to bidding or defense or play or whatever it is. And then all of a sudden, you play with a partner who tells you otherwise, and they do so in a authoritative manner, and you start second guessing what you know about the fundamentals of bidding. We want you to be comfortable and confident in those fundamentals. So when it comes to jump bids, what I think is a little tricky is that these meanings do change a little bit depending on the context. I've given 4 of the most common jump bids that we would see. Most of these and most of what we're discussing today are jump bids by the opening bidder, but we will also address some jump bids that would be made by a responder. And so when we look at things like jump rebidding a suit that you already bid earlier in the auction, okay, that's something the opener can do, but it's something a responder can do as well. Jump raising your partner's suit, like the opener, say, starts with a minor, your partner responds a major, and the opener jumps in the major. That's the type of auction. We're going to be looking at some of those examples. But again, that can also be the responder jump raising the opener's suit in the second round of bidding. We've got our jump rebids of no trump, 2 no trump and 3 no trump specifically. And by the way, sometimes I hear people refer to these as jump shifts, but they are not, because a jump shift means that you have opened one suit and you have jumped in a different suit. But we want the jump rebids of no trump to go into the jump rebid category, not the jump shift category, even though you are not repeating the same suit, you're going into a different strain, but these no trump bids are still limited bids, right? And then the last one we'll deal with today, the jump shift into a new suit, some of these auctions, the jump shift, certainly one of them. These can be very difficult auctions. You'd think that bidding these monster hands, you'd think that that would be easy, right? Oh yeah, I'm going to do all sorts of bidding. I've got this big 2-suited hand, and it's a little deceptive, I think, at times, that you think these big hands are going to be easy ones to bid, and quite often they're not. Many times your really good hands are the hardest hands to bid, and you are really worried about making an underbid, about your partner passing you when you really want to be in a game. And this is why I think it's important, and why for any of these bids, one of the things that we always want to address on a very fundamental level, every bid you make is either forcing or it's non-forcing, right? Either your partner must bid again or your partner is allowed to pass. And so we do want to be careful in these situations where we may not want partner to pass, but if we make a bid that partner can pass, then we can't be shocked when that happens. So yeah, we'll talk about these different types of jump bids individually, and we'll try to get you an example at the table for each of them so that you can see it in a full layout. And we'll start with the jump rebid by opener. So a couple of auctions here. One with a jump rebid by the opener and a minor after a suit response. The other opening and jump rebidding a major after a 1 no response, and that 1 no response could be forcing or non-forcing. So what kind of strength do we expect you to have for this bid? Normally we should be right around 16 or 17 points. If you have a 15 that you like, I think the jump rebid is fine. I think some 15-point hands with a good 6-card suit are probably going to be a little good to just rebid at a minimum level. And this, by the way, is something that I see very commonly with students. I see a lot of times people rebidding minimally with hands that need to be jump rebidding, right? Good 16-point hands with rebiddable suits, but people are only rebidding 2 clubs or 2 spades instead of jump rebidding, when you really need to be giving your partner a little more of a push, a little more encouragement. Opener's jump rebid is a 6-card or longer suit, no exceptions. There are many rules in bridge that might on occasion get broken. This is not one of them. So we never want you jump rebidding a 5-card suit. We always want it to be at least a 6-card suit, because partner may pass, and partner may have something like a small singleton in your suit, and if you're going to be jump rebidding and you may be on your own, you're going to want a little extra length to that suit. So, yeah, a question about exceptions for all systems. Well, no, like for example, and I don't know if I have any precision players in this class series. I do have a few students who play precision in other classes that I teach. And for example, if you play precision, you can make a forcing opening with 16 or more points, right? And so these hands in that we would be jump rebidding in standard or 2/1, or I think ACall is pretty consistent here, right? Are the jump rebids in ACall, because ACall still uses 2-level bids for your forcing openings, right? So we still need a way to show extra values, not a minimum hand. Now, I will confess to you that my knowledge of ACall is pretty limited. I've played precision. I have not played ACall in any of my partnerships before. So I think a lot of times when you make this jump rebid, you suggest that you have an unbalanced hand. You quite likely have a singleton or a void somewhere. Now, you don't have to, right? Your hand pattern could be 6-3-2-2. So you have 2 doubletons, right? But otherwise, you quite likely have shortness somewhere. I think there's a pretty strong suggestion most of the time when you make a jump rebid. One of the things that you might consider, and Bajir and I did a YouTube video with one of these hands, but it may not be posted yet. If it hasn't, keep an eye out for it. And I would pose to you the question, would you ever open a strong no trump, a 15-17 no trump, with a 6-card minor? 15-17, like, say, what do you do if you have, say, 16 points and 6 diamonds, and you don't have a singleton anywhere? You do have this hand pattern, 6-3-2-2. Are you going to open a diamond and then jump rebid 3 diamonds? Or would you consider opening a no trump with that hand? And the reason I pose that question to you is, look, sometimes we have to make this jump rebid. Sometimes it's really the only reasonable way to bid our hand. But the jump rebid of a minor is a bit of an awkward bidding sequence, and it can put some pressure on the responder. It can make responder's second bid sometimes can be difficult when we jump rebid a minor. It's not as tough when we jump rebid a major, because we'll probably play in the major if that's an option, and then we can recognize that pretty easily, right? But a lot of times, if we jump rebid a minor, there is still a lot of uncertainty about where we're going to play. Can we still play in a major? Are we going to be okay playing no trump? Do we actually have to play this contract in the minor suit? So it is okay if anybody has ever told you that you cannot open a no trump with 2 doubletons, then you were told incorrectly. It's something that you will see the experts do all the time, especially if they feel that it's the best bid with their hand and that it presents the fewest problems down the road in the auction for a partner. So, and then the last thing here is it is non-forcing, right? So while your jump rebid shows better than a minimum hand, it does show some extra values. Your partner is allowed to pass. And with a minimum response or an ill-fitting hand, a small singleton in your suit or something like that, a lot of times that it's best to pass and get out before we dig the hole any deeper. The other thing I would caution you about here is maybe your jump rebid on occasion could go up to about 18. But boy, when you get into having 18 actual high card points in your hand, I just feel that this is getting to be a bit too strong of a hand to risk having partner pass. Now, some of those 18-point hands can, again, your second bid, if you're not going to jump rebid with your 6-card suit, some of your rebids could be a little strange, right? And you might have to do something a little different, like jump rebid 2-0 to show you're 18 with a hand that you might not think about doing that. Or sometimes you do something a little strange, like you jump shift into a 3-card suit or something along those lines. So, not a perfect world, but I would say, again, just ask yourself the question, if I make this bid, am I okay with partner passing it? And if the answer to that is no, that you're pretty sure you want to be in a game somewhere, or at least you want to provide more encouragement to go on the game, then you might want to choose a different bid. So why don't we just jump over here and have a quick look at a hand where we would make use of a jump rebid. So pretty normal stuff here. By the way, just what I was talking about, could you open one no trump if you play a strong no trump? Again, not for the A-call crowd, but for the standard American 2/1 crowd. If you play a strong no trump, yeah, you could, and I wouldn't have a problem with that with the north hand. I'm going to open a club this time, but really either way is a reasonable choice, I think. This time, when we jump rebid, this time South doesn't have too much of a problem. The one thing you want to keep in mind on this type of auction for the responder is, remember that this 3 clubs is a non-forcing bid. Now South here wants to bid again, right? If partner is good enough to jump, then we need to be in game, right? If partner has 16 or so points, responder has, a full opening hand over here. We have enough to be in game. And the question is, which game is best? Is it 3 no trump? Could it be 4 spades? Because South has a 5-card spade suit and the opener could still have 3, right? Fortunately, this time South has a pretty convenient bid. So this time the jump rebid auction isn't too awkward, but again, it can be. So I think I would bid 3 diamonds, which is natural. Obviously, we have a secondary diamond suit, and this will give the opener a chance to show 3 spades if North has 3-card spade support. Otherwise, North would probably be inclined to bid 3 no, unless we're wide open in the heart suit, which North is not. North has a good heart holding, and so I suspect we would see 3 no by North. But just remember that when you bid again as responder after a jump bid, you have created a game force at that point, right? Because if you're not good enough to force the game, then you just need to be passing 3 clubs. And you can't afford, if you have, say, some crummy 6-point hand, you can't afford to try and improve the contract, even if you don't like North's clubs. Like South doesn't want to come back and continue to say, look for a spade fit if you have a really weak hand, because partner may not have any support for your spades. So, how would the auction go if we had a 1-no opening? It would be a pretty clean auction, I think. I think South would just transfer, right? Use a Jacoby transfer to spades, and then probably follow with 3 no most likely, right? And give a choice of games. So it would lead to the same contract with the same declare. What would the drawback be to a no trump? If we had a club slam, the club suit would probably be lost by opening a no trump. That would be very hard for you to indicate a good 6-card club suit. And if that is your slam, like let's say South had a slightly better hand, where here we're missing a couple of aces and the king of clubs. So we're not that close to slam, but give South a little better hand with 2 or 3 clubs. Now we could see getting into the slam zone, and it would be almost impossible to find your 6 clubs. Now, a lot of those minor suit slams are not the easiest things to get to, but so it's pretty safe, I think, in that respect. to choose a 1-no opening with the north hand. And as we said, you do get the benefit of your systems, right? You get to use Stamen and transfers, which are really useful, and those bids are not available to you when you open a minor. So I think those are the big differences. Those are the pros and cons. Okay, let's see here. What about the jump raise by opener? So this time we're looking at openers jump in responder suit. Usually that will be a major, right? So auctions like we see here, a minor, a heart, 3 hearts by the opener, a minor, a spade, 3 spades. So the strength on this is a little more wide ranging, because you may be upgrading for shape, right? If you are balanced, then this can be an 18-point hand. Sometimes people think that a balanced 18 count should go all the way to game. That's a little bit of an overbid. It may end up being the right spot. And I think that's fine if you're on 19. If you're on a 19-point hand and you say, well, partner's going to have 6, and and you just want to go all the way to game, I think that's fine. I think if you only have 18 and you're balanced, then give partner room. One thing you might also think about is how light does your partnership respond? Would you respond with a kind of a substandard, like only a 4 or 5 point hand? Because if your partnership will do that, and I do that with some of my partners, and I think it's fine as long as you're prepared for it, then you may want to give a little room, right? And not punish partner for making a light response in hopes of, say, finding a major suit fit. Now, if you're unbalanced, we can go down a bit on the high card points, maybe as few as 14 or 15 points if you have shortness somewhere. And then you have made the adjustment for your dummy points, essentially, right? Say, okay, well, I only have 15 high card points, but I do have a singleton, and I think this hand would make a really good dummy for a partner's major suit, right? The jump raise should always be 4 card support, because we're bidding 4 card majors up the line, right? And so if South can have only 4 hearts or only 4 spades on one of these auctions, we don't want to be jump raising partner with only 3 card support, even if we really like our hand. We should be making some other kind of strength showing bid, whether that's a jump rebid of a suit or no trump, or whatever is appropriate. But yeah, we don't want to be jump raising partner when it might only be a 7 card fit. And if it's a 5-3 fit, then a lot of times we end up using another gadget to find that 5-3 fit. That's where things like where forcing and that sort of thing come in. Now, the jump raise, again, it looks like you're making a big bid in some ways, but the jump raise is non-forcing. Your partner is allowed to pass. So as opener, if you have decided that your hand is too good to risk partner passing your raise to the 3 level, say, then you may need to go to game. Even if you feel like you're stretching a little bit, you may need to bid a game on your own. Either that, or you will have to make some other type of forcing bid. So that's an important part of the jump raise. You're providing additional encouragement, you're inviting, but you are not forcing to game on these auctions. So we might get into a jump raise with a hand like this, if it wants to come up for me. All right. So, here you have East has a strong no trump on high card points, but you have a small singleton club, right? So we can't open a no trump with a small singleton. So we need to open this hand a diamond. And that's all right, because if partner bids a major, we have a plan here, right? So we start with the diamond, partner bids a heart. Well, what is everybody doing? Do you all feel like this hand is too good to simply raise to 2 hearts? Does 3 hearts feel like a stretch? What is it? Is it a 2.5 heart raise for you? I'm curious what folks would do. I think 2 hearts would be probably a little bit conservative, right? I mean, this hand has a lot of playing strength in hearts. So I think you're fine jumping to 3 hearts. It looks like people are comfortable with that. I see. We have Jeanette and Anita are proposing jump to 3 hearts. Janice thinking about going all the way to 4. I mean, that's aggressive. I don't know that it's insanely aggressive, but I think I would let partner make the final decision. Remember, partner may only have a 6-point hand with something like queen 4th of hearts, right? I don't want to completely punish partner for a light response, right? Partner could have something like queen 4th of hearts and an outside ace or king jack or something like that. So I think 4 hearts would probably be a little much. I think I'll let partner make the choice. And again, we're providing a lot of encouragement. I think partner is going to go on the game with any excuse. Certainly they will here after the jump raise. West has 9 points and has a 5th heart, which is also an upgrade. So I think we'd go ahead and proceed to 4 hearts, and that's where we want to be on this hand. These hands fit really well with the hearts splitting. If we drop that queen of trump, we're just going to end up losing a club and a spade here. I think. Actually, you don't even have to lose a spade, do you? You can actually get it pitched on the diamond. If you're very careful with this hand, you can make 6. I don't think I want to be in slam, but on this layout, it actually would work. So yeah, I think this would be a good hand for the jump raise. All right. Now that is opener's jump raise. We should probably talk about responders jump raise a little bit as well. And I've given a couple different auctions for you here. The first, South makes a jump raise of the minor suit that North opened with a club, a heart, a 1-no rebid. So again, in standard methods, that 1-no rebid is like 12 to 14 balanced, right? So the North hand has been limited on both of these auctions. And we see here South jumping to 3 clubs at second turn to bid. In the second auction here, we see South making a jump rebid of his own suit, jump rebidding his spades. So how do you play this? In your regular partnerships, I hope that you've had this discussion. What is standard is that these bids are invitational. So they're probably in the good 10 to 12 point range. So North is allowed to pass either of the bids on this auction if that's how you play. If you haven't talked about this with your partner, again, we should expect that the default is that it's invitational. But it's possible that your partnership plays these bids as forcing. In the case of the auction on the right, I actually do play that auction forcing in some of my partnerships. Now, we play other gadgets that make that possible, right? We get into some other stuff like two-way new minor forcing, which I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole today. But so depending, the idea is that these bids, being forcing or not forcing, that could be modified by the partnership depending on what the rest of your system is like and what other bids are available to you. Responder, if you are jump rebidding your own suit like the opener's jump rebid, that needs to be a 6-card suit, right? So this auction here on the right where South has jump rebid 3 spades, that is definitely a 6-card spade suit. We don't want to do that on only a 5-card suit. The auction on the left, your jump raise is in opener's clubs. So what's going on there? Well, your hand was too good to take a simple preference back to 2 clubs. So you wanted to invite, and you might have different ways to invite. Like with a balanced invitation, you might bid 2-no, right? But maybe you felt that that wasn't the best description of your hand. So if you're jumping an opener's minor, normally what do I expect from responder here? Probably an unbalanced hand and likely with 5-card support for opener's minor, right? Why are you so interested in possibly playing in a minor? Well, you're probably advertising a hand that if partner does not want to accept the game try, that you'd rather play in the suit, right? Now, remember with this hand on the left, if North is accepting the game try, we would tend to accept with 3-no because we'd still prefer to try and take 9 tricks than to take 11, right? So just because we invite the game in the minor doesn't mean we've committed to the minor, right? I think on this type of auction, South may be saying, and we'll have an example for you here in a moment, but South may have some concerns about no trump, right? South, it sounds like South has shortness in an unbid suit or something along those lines, right? These are the kind of inferences that you can draw. You say, oh, why is partner inviting that way? Why is partner inviting with 3 clubs rather than inviting with 2-no? And then obviously South doesn't have extra heart length on that auction, right? Because South may be inclined to keep the major in the picture if there could still be an 8-card heart fit. So yeah, why don't we take a look at that hand? I think this one would probably fit the bill. So when South opens a club here, North, obviously you have very good club support and you could support clubs, but you don't want to give up on finding a major fit, right? So you will delay any mention of the clubs while you seek a spade fit, right? Certainly, we would be interested in a spade game, perhaps if South had 4 of those. Okay, so if South comes back with a no trump saying I don't have 4 spades and I have a balanced minimum opener, what do you do with the North hand? By the way, this is for all you folks watching on replay too. Think about your regular partnerships. Think about how you bid these hands. Do you have a clear agreement? Is this something that you need to discuss? What is North's second bid? You have 11 points, so you're in the invitational range, right? You need to make some type of bid that will invite a game. You see, even though South has limited that hand, South could have the full 14, right? And if South has 14 with North's 11, we're at 25 points, right? So we're right there for a possible game, I think, right? So if you're just doing kind of normal stuff, yeah, I like 3 clubs here. Could you invite with 2 no? You could, but are you a little concerned about your red suit holdings? You have a guaranteed 8 card or better club fit. I would actually say you're pretty much guaranteed, almost not guaranteed. You're almost guaranteed a 9 card fit, right? If partner doesn't have 4 spades, then the likelihood has gone up that partner actually has 4 or more clubs, and this wasn't just a 3 card club opening. So you probably have a 9 card club fit. Let's see. Could South bid 3 diamonds? Well, so the only problem with coming back with 3 diamonds here is that you have forced your side to game, have you not? Because North is going to have to do something with that 3 diamond bid. We know we can't play in diamonds, right? Nobody has been bidding diamonds. So I think if you are bidding again over 3 clubs, you're probably bidding 3 no. I feel like this is a pretty binary, at this stage, a pretty binary choice for South. I think either you're not accepting the game try and you play 3 clubs so that you wouldn't be forced to say 4 clubs, or if you are accepting, you decide that you're willing to chance 3 no trump, that your red suit holdings are good enough. And I'm not accepting this game try because I truly have a bare minimum here, right? I only have the 12 points. But make it a 14-point hand, bump up one of those honors in my hand, give me the ace of diamonds instead of the queen of diamonds, and now I'll bid 3 no. And I won't worry about look, could we have a problem? Could we have a problem in the diamond suit? Could we have a problem in a heart suit? It's probably not going to be possible for you to sniff out every little potential flaw in the hand. Now, our bidding language is limited enough. We only have so much room that we can operate before we get up here to the game level, right? And so at some point, you might just have to decide, okay, we're doing it or we're not, and hopefully we have the tricks we need. And if there's a problem, hopefully the defense does not exploit it. So I think that's pretty much what we are dealing with here. All right. Before we get into the, I just want to check real quick if anybody does have any other questions before we get into the next topic here. Yeah, John has mentioned, vulnerability and scoring format. Absolutely, these things play into your decision. If you're playing imps, we're looking for any excuse to bid a vulnerable game. Match points, we may want to be a little more cautious. So yeah, I do like that type of comprehensive thinking, right? The full context of what we're doing, where we are, what are we doing in this moment. So let's deal a bit with jumpery bids of no trump. This is probably an auction that many of you are quite comfortable with. I feel like people seem to handle this one pretty well most of the time. And this, of course, is the jump rebid of 2 no trump to indicate a balanced hand that was too strong to open 1 no trump, right? If you play a typical 15 to 17 no trump opening and your balanced hand is out of that range on the strong side, then you're going to have to open a suit, right? And while I am in the habit of upgrading some good 17 counts and treating them as 18, one thing I'm not really in the habit of doing is downgrading 18 counts and opening a no trump. I think that's a very dangerous practice. Because if you downgrade your 18, if for some reason you decide, "Oh, I don't like my 18," and well, sometimes I start with the question of, "Well, who doesn't like to have 18 points? What's not to like?" But remember that your partner will pass 1 no trump with a lot of 6 and 7 point hands that can't transfer to a major, right? And if you're sitting there on 25 points playing 1 no trump, you may have 3 no trump and not give yourself a chance to get there. So, yeah, I would not be inclined to downgrade my 18s, but I might upgrade some 17s. And that's what I mentioned here when we talk about strength. 18 or 19, you're showing 18 or 19 balanced. If I have a 17-point hand with a decent 5-card suit, that's the hand I like to upgrade. It just has, with the 5-card suit, it just tends to have enough trick-taking potential. I'd rather have a 17, honestly, I'd rather have a 17-point hand with a 5-card suit than a 19-point hand that is 4-3-3 shape, where it's a lot harder to find your tricks sometimes because you're so balanced. The jump rebid of 2 no should not have 4-card support for partners major. That is an error that I have seen many players make. They feel that it's so important that to show their points that they forget to support partners suit. So for example, the hand on the left here absolutely should not have 4 hearts. It could have 3 hearts, but not 4. And if it has 3 and partner has 5, you still have a chance to find the 5-3 fit before we get to game. So that's a hand that should be jump raising, right? Rather than jumping to 2 no trump, you should be jumping in responder suit when you have 4-card support. And again, that's the judgment that you're making. Are you jump raising to 3 hearts, or do you want to go all the way to 4? Do you feel it's good enough for that? You'll be wanting to choose probably between one of those 2 bids. Now that jump rebid of 2 no, again, it's highly encouraging. Your partner is probably going to bid again most of the time. We are likely going to end up in a game, but it is technically non-forcing. And if South has kind of a crummy looking 6-point hand, might want to pass 2 no and say, well, and what if you responded a little bit light, right? What if your partner opens a club? And this is a question I get often, by the way, from students. This question of can I or should I respond to my partner's minor suit opening to try and find a better place to play? Like, what if your partner opens a club and you don't really like clubs? And what if you have both majors? You say, can I respond? Should I respond? I only have 4 points this time. Well, you can do that. I do sometimes. Every hand is kind of a different case, whether or not I want to do that. And you can't really predict how things are going to go, right? I mean, if you take a shot at improving the contract, if you respond to heart a little bit light when your partner opens a club, your partner might raise your hearts and you'll be thrilled. On the other hand, partner might jump rebid those clubs, which you don't like, and now you dug the hole deeper, right? Or partner might jump rebid 2 no trump. So that's the chance you take, right? When you respond a little bit light. And that's okay, because again, you don't know what opener's hand is like. You can take your shot. It could work out really well. It could work out poorly, right? So I think that's okay to do if it's okay in the partnership to respond a little bit light. Just understand that you may get a rebid from the opener that you don't like. But again, that 2-0 is non-forcing. If you feel like your hand needs to be in game, then you will want to think about a different bid there. I think just quickly back to the table for one of these. And again, I feel like people do really well with this auction for the most part, even fairly early in their budding bridge careers. So we won't spend too much time on it. But the one thing with this type of hand, one mistake that we might see is are you making this 2-0 rebid? Because sometimes what I have seen here is that people jump to 2 spades with this type of hand that West has here rather than 2-0. And that is an error. I know you may be inclined to bid your spades. They're decent. You have king, queen, 10, fourth. I know that East has not denied 4 spades, right? Because we go up the line when we're 4-4 in the majors. But if you jump rebid 2 spades, that is a jump shift that we'll be talking about here shortly. And that is game forcing. And that really suggests more of a distributional hand, but you don't have a distributional hand. You have a balanced hand. And that's what you want to say. You want to say that you have 18 or 19 balanced. And that's your hand here in the West, right? So the important thing to keep in mind is that 2-0 rebid, while it denies 4 of the major your partner responded, it most definitely does not deny 4 of the other major, right? So West can have 4 spades here. And then Jane has followed up here with, okay, if we have that spade fit, how do we find it? Now, it is possible to miss a spade fit, right? If East is passing 2-0, if East has a very minimal response and thinks, all right, I've already done enough damage by responding in the first place, then, okay, you might have to pass 2-0. You might miss an 8-card spade fit. That is possible. And here, East is just going to go to 3-0 because I don't think we're really considering any other games here. The gadget that will probably work best for you on this hand to find a 5-3 spade fit or a 4-4, or excuse me, a 5-3 heart fit or a 4-4 spade fit. If you play new minor forcing, that can be used here. Now, there are other gadgets that people play. There are some fancier conventions that are played over 2-0 rebids. I play one system with one of my partners that I have messed up many times because there's all sorts of follow-up bids and we don't play enough for me to get them straight all the time. I will tell you that if you ever play with the robots on BBO, they actually play a very simple approach here. And that is they play that responders 3 spade bid on this auction. Like if East were to bid 3 spades over 2-0, they play that shows exactly 4-4 in the majors. So you can do that. The drawback to that is if you play in spades, you will have the weaker hand become the declare, but that's not the worst thing in the world. It may not be ideal, right? So in theory, with 4 spades, East could bid 3 spades, and then West could raise to 4, which would make East declare. So there are different ways to handle it. If you are comfortable with new minor forcing, I think that will serve you very well on this type of auction. All right. The jump rebid of 3-0. This is one that I think people do tend to foul up quite a bit. It's a different hand type. Different bids, different hand types. And we don't want you doing the same thing with 3-0 that 2-0 already does for you as a jump rebid. So this can be lighter in terms of strength. This might be down to like 15 points. But what is different here is that the opener has a source of tricks. Usually this is something like a 6 or 7 card solid or very close to solid minor suit. You can see where the tricks are coming from, right? So when I say solid, you most definitely have ace king. You probably should have the queen as well. I think you can live without the jack. Ace king queen 10-6, ace king queen 7th, holdings like that. Because that's going to be good unless you're really having a bad day. That's going to be good for 6 or 7 tricks for you. That suit alone, right? And then your partner has responded to suit. So your partner has at least a little something, and it becomes a lot easier to see your 9 tricks. So when you jump rebid 3-0, I mean, that is to play unless partner has a slam try and wants to go on over 3-0. And then you'll want to have something in those unbid suits. Full stoppers are nice. I can live with a partial stopper. You know, if you have a queen doubleton in a side suit, you know, you might still make this bid, right? And again, what this is a trick bid. And if we compare the jump rebid of 2-0 with the jump rebid of 3-0, you know, those 18 and 19 point hands, yeah, you may have more high card points than you have on this auction, but isn't it harder to see your tricks? I mean, think about how many times have you found yourself in 3-0 with even 26, 27 points between the two hands, and you say, well, we have all the values to be in a game, but I only count 6 winners right now. I've got a lot of work to do. And you take finesses and you see if suits are splitting, right? You see if you can set up a long card in only a 4-card suit or something like that, right? It's a lot harder to see where your tricks are coming from. So, good question here from Jane. What happens if responder does bid above 3-0? Control bid, looking for slam. That's a reasonable thing to do. Obviously, I think if you are bidding again over 3-0, you probably have some slam interest. Otherwise, you would tend to just let your partner play 3-0. And I suppose the partner suit, opener suit, because it's a solid suit, is likely assumed to be the trump suit. Now, we could have a situation where the responder has a long, strong major, right? And maybe you want to do something in that major. So that could get a little murky there, I suppose. Let's come back to the table and look at one of these. We'll need to hit our redeal here for that. And again, we'll try to make quick work of this here because we do want to talk still for at least a few minutes about jump shifts before we get done today. So I hope that you view this north hand as being too good for a jump rebid of 3 diamonds. Because sometimes I see people do that. They're counting their beans, right? And they say, oh, you know, I have a 6 card or longer diamond suit. I have 16 high card points. This is a jump rebid, right? But how many tricks does that north hand have? Don't you have 8 tricks almost certainly? You've got 7 really good diamonds. And it's a bad day if you're not picking up the jack of diamonds. That's very unlucky. The jack of diamonds could show up in the dummy. If not, it's likely to fall. And you'll be able to run all 7 of your diamonds and your ace of clubs. Your king of hearts is useful, especially with an incoming heart lead. That would be your 9th trick right there. And partner bid spades. So you don't worry too much about the singleton spade because partner showed at least something in that suit, right? So this is a good hand to jump rebid 3-0. You actually have over tricks available on this hand. Now that part of that is West holds the Queen Jack Doubleton of clubs and the 10 sets up. So that makes things even easier. But so, yeah, this is a good bit. And again, this is what we want to make that distinction between this jump rebid of 3 no and a jump rebid of 2 no. They should be rather different hand types. Okay. Jump shifts. Let's talk a bit about jump shifts. This is, of all of the jump bids that we have dealt with today, this is the strongest. It's categorically forcing. Your jump shift into a new suit is usually 18 or more points. Now, would you do it with a little less with a highly distributional pattern? Sure, if you feel the hand is worth a game force. Imagine having a 16 or 17 point hand that is, 6-5 in the major suits or something like that. That's the kind of hand that you need very little from your partner to make a game, right? So you may decide, I'm going to open a spade and jump shift into 3 hearts, and I'm going to make partner pick a major. I think that's totally reasonable. The jump shift, again, because you have not opened or jump rebid some number of no trump, your jump shift tends to be distributional, right? You probably have a singleton or a void somewhere. You don't have to. You could be something like 5-4-2-2 pattern, right? The length of the 2 suits that you're bidding, your second suit might be shorter than your first suit. It could be equal length, as we see here on these auctions. If we go something like a heart opening, a spade response, and then here where North jump shifts to 3 clubs, it could be that you have 5 hearts and 4 clubs. You could be 5-5, and of course you open the major and the higher ranking suit. You could have a 6th heart. You could be 6-4, you could be 6-5, any variety in there where these 2 suits are either equal length or the first suit is longer. So that's what we're looking at in terms of hand pattern. And then again, game forcing. And look, I've definitely seen consternation in partnerships over jump shifts. I have a good friend who quit playing with someone because of a past jump shift and a disagreement. And the person was trying to say that they didn't have to bid again. And no, it's game forcing. Well, no, it's I have a bad hand. I don't like my hand. That is kind of thing is so bad for partnership morale. You don't want to do that. I would rather on a jump shift auction, if it turns out that it's kind of a misfit hand and you don't have a great place to play, you know what? I just stick with partner on this, right? If partner makes a strong jump shift, don't pass, go to game somewhere. If it doesn't work out, then we can have the discussion later. Was partner's jump shift a good idea? Did they have full values? Was it just unlucky? These hands didn't fit well, right? But do carry on with your bidding until you get to a game contract when you have a jump shift auction. I do want to mention before we get out today one more thing. Now, I don't want to go too long here. We usually try to keep this right around an hour, but the jump shift by responder, this is a part of the game where you see a lot of different things being done. And you don't want to assume anything. The default in standard American is that a jump shift is strong. It's game forcing. And if you don't have a chance to discuss it, that is what you should assume, although hopefully we don't have to deal with this on assumptions. It is still considered the default, even if you don't see a lot of people doing it. Probably weak jump shifts are a lot more common than strong jump shifts now. But you need to be careful with these things. If that's what your partnership has agreed, I open a club and you jump to 2 hearts. What is that? Is it strong? Is it weak? Or is it something totally different? Because I think, as I've noted here, what you find a lot of experts doing is something conventional. And that jump shift may be completely artificial. It could be something like a fit jump, showing, but not an 18-point type of jump, but could be like an invitational type of hand, different things you can do with these jump bids. But do talk about them. And if you play, I'm not personally a fan of weak jumps when there isn't any competition from the opponent, but I do understand that they're very popular. And just be sure that you get into the specifics of these with your partner. Be careful not to make a weak jump shift with a hand that's too good for it. When we talk about a weak jump shift, we're talking about a truly weak hand, like 0 to about 6 points would be the max. And to me, even a lot of 6 point hands would be too good for a weak jump shift. One of the reasons I'm not a fan is when the opener has a good hand, you find that you are preempting your own partner more than anything else. So, but whatever your partnership agrees, just make sure that you're on the same page with that. And certainly if anybody has any questions outside of class time about some other options, what kind of conventional things, here, like I've given an auction, 1 spade, 3 diamonds. Some people might play something like a Bergen raise there, right? Where the 3 diamond bid is artificial and it's a spade raise of some sort, right? So those are the types of things that you see a lot of folks doing, but highly variable on those jump shifts, not really a true standard anymore, where not everybody's doing the same thing. So jump shifts by responder, definitely be sure that you have covered that territory in your regular partnerships. I want to thank everybody for coming today. Certainly the regulars who have been with me back to spring and summer. I hope you enjoy this Monster Hand series. We're going to get into reverses next time. And if you haven't been here before, I hope you found it useful. You can post questions to there's a little discussion forum thing on the class page. And if you have any questions about things that came up today or what we might do going forward. And yeah, and then I guess happy Halloween, everybody. We don't want to forget that. So watch out for the ghouls and goblins.
Thanks, everybody. Great
All right.
session, Kurt.
Thanks for your help, Mary Ellen, as always.
Happy Halloween.